For more awesome content, head to ystech.org, link in the description. The Coolermaster CK550v2 is an entry-level or mid-range keyboard, but considering that it is a pre-built keyboard, it isn't too bad. Hi, I'm Wires from ystech.org, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the Coolermaster CK550v2. I will be looking at the build quality of the keyboard, the stabilizers used, the keycap set, the lighting, the sound of the keyboard, and lastly, the price and the software. I purchased mine for $40 New Zealand off Trade Me secondhand, and well, at least I thought it was secondhand at the time. But when I received it, it looked to be never used. So what do you get in the box? You get a keyboard, and you get a foam wrist rest. Overall, the packaging is pretty nice. Build quality. This keyboard is physically built quite nicely. It's a relatively compact design which gives it a sleek look. The bottom is made of plastic and the top faceplate is made of aluminium, which gives a premium feel in design. Overall, physically, it's in a decent chassis and feels relatively hefty. The sound, in my opinion, is alright with the Gateron Browns that came with mine, but it does feel solid to type on, and the whole keyboard doesn't wobble or flex easily at all. The keyboard feet feel very good and hold the keyboard up nicely as well. They are made of a hard plastic and snap into place very firmly. The cable. I'll be honest, the cable is thick, but I personally don't like that it's not detachable and that it's not a braided cable. I feel like over time, moving the keyboard around, it can easily snag or deteriorate quickly due to it being plastic, but do keep in mind it is a pretty thick cable. One criticism are the stabilizers used. They wobble a bit too much and it's very pronounced on the spacebar itself. I feel like it rattles and pings way too much for how much you pay for this keyboard. The keycap set I believe is ABS. And again, I think it's a laser engraved ABS to help the light shine through. I don't have any issues with this keycap set. They feel alright and the font is neutral compared to those gamer fonts that you usually get on these type of keyboards. The lighting also shines through nicely through them as well. Speaking of lighting, this keyboard has some amazing RGB. It looks so good. This keyboard has some of the better LEDs that I've seen from the mainstream keyboards, and compared to my Logitech G Pro X, the CK550v2 looks so much better in terms of lighting. This keyboard uses some sort of raised LED with what I believe to be a diffuser on top, which I think makes the keyboard lighting look amazing. The colors are decently vivid and shine through nicely on the stock keycap set. The typing experience. I'm gonna get it off the bat right now. Personally, I don't really enjoy brown switches from any manufacturer, and this keyboard that I have with Gateron Browns in them isn't an exception. They feel alright to type on, but sometimes I wonder, why am I not just using a linear switch instead of it? I barely feel any tactility at all, and that could just be due to my typing style. But I'm just not a fan of brown switches in general. From Cherry, Gateron, Kale, whoever it is, I'm not really a fan of them. I have gotten used to these switches, but I still prefer something with more tactility. And as an extreme example, I would say my Kale box shades fits that bill really nicely. But that is an extreme example. The browns just kinda suck to me. I would choose something else, but at the end of the day, it's personal preference. If you like them, then go for it. For the actual typing experience on the CK550v2, and where I'm not judging the switches on their individual performance, as I stated before, the stabilizers used are just a bit subpar. The spacebar pings sometimes and the other stabilizers wobble as well. It's not that pleasant, however the actual keycaps on the Gateron Browns feel decent and don't have too much wiggle on them. They have a pretty firm feel, which is a positive. Overall, if I switch the switches out to something that I liked on the keyboard, I would definitely enjoy it a lot more, considering that the build quality of the keyboard is actually pretty decent, and I do feel like the backplate is pretty hefty and front faceplate is pretty decent as well. Here are some sound samples of the CK550v2. the software. I think the software provided by Coolermaster is actually pretty awesome. You have a lot of lighting functionality and it's super easy to set up. I personally think it's one of the better softwares provided by keyboard manufacturers, at least in the mainstream, and is geared towards the ease of use for the consumer. You also have a ton of shortcuts on the keyboard for lighting and even macros, which is awesome to see. Lastly, the price. At $139 New Zealand, which is about $98 USD, I believe that this keyboard is pretty alright for the money. At that price, there are better options secondhand on Trade Me in New Zealand or buying brand new from AliExpress. At this price range, there are better options in New Zealand, and well, especially throughout the entire world. There are keyboards such as Keytron or Ducky keyboards that you can get on great specials. The HyperX lineup isn't too bad as well for the mainstream pre-built keyboards as well around this price range. However, the CK550v2 does stand out quite nicely for its build quality, lighting, and software. So, would I recommend it? Well, yes, if you can get one for under $115 New Zealand, or even better at 105, then it could be a great deal. I always say this, but there is a switch preference, and you will need to try out certain switches for yourself in person. It could be a good idea to try out the actual keyboard you like as well in person. There are a lot of stores that are able to offer in-person experiences with keyboards. I like the CK550v2. It has nice lighting, a good build quality, and some decent software. Overall, it gets the thumbs up from me. So that about sums it up. Make sure you go and check out wirestech.org for some more awesome technology content. But other than that, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! Here are some small word samples and typing experience samples that I've recorded.